So this week, yet again, I've been distracted from all the important things that I want to be talking about by Labour Party advertisements on social media. And they've been going with the headline, the Labour Party would freeze council tax to ease the cost of living slash greed crisis. I don't know anybody whose biggest bill and biggest financial concern is their council tax. I mean, aren't we all worried about our energy bills and our food bills? Aren't those much, much higher? And also, don't we understand that council tax is what gets spent on providing services in our community? You know, fixing roads, mental health services, sexual health services, looked after children in care, social housing, ending homelessness, you know, providing libraries, all that kind of stuff that's really, really important in our community. Surely telling people, don't worry, we'll cut that corner, surely that's not a vote winner of a message. That strikes me as a horrific message, or one that at least plays into a mythology that counts are these wasteful places where, you know, your best interests are not represented, which certainly where I live doesn't seem to be true in the slightest. But if you do look into the detail of it, amazingly enough, they are saying that this is going to be funded by taking money from the energy companies. It's being funded for 1 year. And it's being funded so that council tax, the amount of income will actually go up by 5%, but what you pay will stay flat. Although, since it's only for 1 year, obviously at the end of that year, you'd expect it to jump a lot further. But of course, also, inflation is at 12%. So if councils are only getting 5% more, that means that they've got less money to pay people who are working for them and to access all the resources that they need to do the important work that they do. They're going to fund it by having a windfall tax on the energy companies. And again, every time they use the word windfall, windfall is a lucky chance piece of good luck that you have, a windfall. It's when something just lands in your lap without you doing anything. Let's be clear that runaway energy company profits are not a windfall. They are absolutely built into a system that is built on greed, that prioritises the well-being of shareholders ahead of the well-being of vulnerable people who are reliant on energy to stay alive. So calling it a windfall is again just pandering to this garbage rhetoric. And anyway, they're saying that what they're going to tax is the additional profits that these companies make above what they expected to make. And of course, what that means is that any sensible energy company who thinks we might end up with a Labour government is just going to predict a higher level of profit so that when they do make higher profits, it's not a surprise. It's what they were expecting, and then they won't have to pay any frickin' tax on it whatsoever. So it won't actually even bring in this additional revenue. It will encourage like aggressive, overambitious accounting, and that in turn will make it look as though the Labour Party or whoever is in power is boosting the economy because suddenly expected profits have gone up. It's like it's just all smoke and mirrors. Nobody is just doing the sensible thing. They're also going to cut small business rates, you know, to help local businesses, which of course makes it sound like your local ma and pa, you know, shop is going to suddenly do loads better. But let's not forget that a lot of small locally owned businesses are actually franchises of big chains like McDonald's and Burger King and Subway and things like that. Not necessarily actually the businesses that you perhaps want to be supporting and helping. Here's what would support small businesses. And I say this because I am a small business, right? Here's what would help me. What would help me would be if the average person on the street had a little bit more money in their pocket, because then they could spend it on buying a ticket for one of my shows or sponsoring me on Patreon. Thanks everyone who does that. And that's exactly what would help local businesses. If people had a little bit more money in their pockets, they could go out and choose where to spend it and support those businesses that they want to support. And I know that when I put out yet another video complaining about the Labour Party, people are going to say, come on, Kate, shouldn't you focus on fighting the Tories? Isn't that the main job that we've got in front of us? And the thing is, I am focused on that because do you know the number one way in which we can fight the Tories? Yeah, having credible, appealing, hard-working, real opposition. Because otherwise, we're not doing any fighting, are we? That's the only thing that fights the Tories is real good quality opposition. So come on, Labour, seriously, get the heck on with it. See you next week. Increasingly, the mainstream media is terrible at informing the public of what is really going on. I'm only able to make these videos because people are generous enough to sponsor me making them, and if you're able to be a part of that, I would hugely appreciate it. It can cost as little as $1 a month and you'll get loads of fun bonus content and lots of extras from me and my undying gratitude. I also massively appreciate it if you're able to like, share these videos and let people out there know what's going on.